For thousands of years, farmers in semi-arid areas have grown cereal crops such as sorghum and millet and developed clever strategies to cope with drought. Because most soils in West Africa have very little organic matter, many farmers sow their seeds in shallow pits filled with composted manure. In these so-called zai planting pits, rainwater, organic matter and nutrients are concentrated exactly where the plants need them. But with a changing climate, the first rains of the rainy season have become even more unpredictable. If an early rain is followed by a long period of drought, germinated seeds easily die. Also, birds and insects feed on the planted seeds, so farmers have to sow again. Often children are requested to guard the family's fields after sowing. While they can chase birds, they can't chase insects. Some farmers even treat their seed with harmful chemicals.
We used to buy pesticides and mix them with seed before sowing. Anything that ate the seed would die. We women, especially those who are breastfeeding and the children, suffered. If seed remained and we brought it home, we had to keep it away from the children. If a hen ate it, she suffered. If an animal ate it, it got sick. With children, you have to be careful.
Doctors in rural areas are well aware of the dangers of treating seeds with pesticides.
Vous savez, avec nos mamans, ils ne tardent pas en tout cas en voulant, par exemple, téter l'enfant.
You know, with our mothers, when they want to suckle their children, with the same hands that they use to handle the pesticides, they breastfeed their children. This can seriously affect the health of the child. We have received cases of vomiting, allergies, but pesticides can also have long-term effects on the person in question, such as heart disease, respiratory disease, and even death.
Des pathologies, pourquoi pas cardiaques, des pathologies respiratoires plus graves avec le temps.
In this video, we'll learn from innovative farmers in Burkina Faso how coating seed with natural ingredients can help to overcome these challenges. Birds and insects continuously search for grain to feed on. Interestingly, by changing the shape and color of your seeds, they no longer recognize them. For centuries, farmers in India have coated their seed with a slurry of cow dung. More recently, farmers in Burkina Faso have also begun to coat their seed, but by using a mixture of clay, compost and ash.
The advantage is that it protects our seed from enemies on the ground such as squirrels, rats, hedgehogs, guinea fowl, chickens, and enemies under the ground such as ants. This helps us even more to start sowing very early. We start the work before the rains. When the first rains come, we have already sown, so we don't have to worry about sowing anymore.
By coating your seed, you need only half the amount of seed, just 3 kilograms of sorghum seed per hectare, compared to 6 kilograms of uncoated seed. For 1 kilogram of seed, you need 4 kilograms of clay, 2 kilograms of compost, and 1 kilogram of ash. To coat your sorghum or millet seed, you need very fine dust-like material. Pound the clay, compost, and ash into a fine powder. Put your seed in a basin or calabash and sprinkle some water over the seed to lightly moisten it. To dust the seed, you can first mix the 3 powdered ingredients, or you can add them one by one. Shake the basin a little, so the seed is coated all over. Again, sprinkle some water over the seed. Now add a bit more of the powder over the moist seed. Shake the basin for 3 minutes until all the seeds are fully coated. You need all 3 ingredients. The clay and compost coating allows the seed to breathe and stay alive. During the first rains, the clay and compost will absorb water quickly, and the coat will split open once the seed germinates.
Each element has a role to play. The clay is sticky. It coats the seed. The ash protects the seed from predators and has its nutrients. The manure provides nutrients that help the seed to grow well and be strong.
Place the coated seed on a tarpaulin to dry in the shade or sun. You can sow the dry coated seed the day after, or store it in a bag or jar for sowing later on. Because the seed is no longer eaten by birds and insects, you can sow your coated seed before the first rains. By coating your seed, you save seed and labor. Coated seed is larger and easier to handle, so you can drop just 1 or 2 coated seeds in each planting hole.
Before we did not coat the seed. We used a lot of seed and there was too much millet per hill. But now we have learned to coat the seed. We don't put a lot of seed in each pocket. We save seed and we don't need to go back to reduce the number of seedlings per hill.
As coating large amounts of seed is time-consuming, the women cooperative in the village of Niesaga use a mechanical seed coater made by a local artisan. As the coated seeds are sieved afterwards, they are a similar size and therefore easier to handle during sowing. To convince other fellow farmers in their village, at the Farmer Field School, they've set up an experimental field. In the plot on the left, they've sown non-coated seed, while on the right, coated seed was used. Even after 1 month, the difference in crop establishment is clearly visible.
Now we can relax thanks to the coated seed. Nothing will destroy it. The millet doesn't look like the others. It roots well. Unlike with non-coated seed, at harvest the heads are not the same. The ripening of the grains is not the same. If there is a dry spell, the millet bends over quickly. But with the coated seeds, the plant establish well. They do not suffer from lack of water.
So what have we learned? Birds and insects often eat millet or sorghum seed in newly planted fields. By coating it with clay, compost and ash, the seed is disguised and safe from being eaten. Pound 4 kilograms of clay with 2 kilograms of compost and 1 kilogram of ash, so it becomes dust. This is enough to coat 1 kilogram of seed. Slightly moisten the seed and dust it with the powder. Shake the seed until it's evenly coated. Moisten again and coat some more. Shake for a few minutes until evenly coated. Dry and sow the seed the next day or store in a bag for later sowing. A locally made seed coating machine can be helpful to coat larger amounts of seed in less time. The organic coat protects your seed from birds and insects and gives the young seedlings extra moisture and nutrients. All you need for a good start of your crop.
I would advise my fellow farmers to coat their seed. It's a great help and very beneficial. It helps us to start sowing very early. It preserves our health. It makes our work easier.
Ne ton tunda na king tawre